Nate's Wild Ride.
And welcome to Nate's Wild Ride Cast, where we talk all things Colorado with a little bit of an edge. If you're new here, the goal is to entertain, inform, maybe even get you a little bit enlightened. So buckle up, keep your arms and legs inside at all times, and enjoy the ride.
95 Rock, the rock station.
And today on our Wild Ride, we're not really going anywhere, but staying here in Grand Junction, the Grand Valley, kind of spotlighting, our local music scene. And I've got a buddy with me to do that, to chat with me about something he's, a big part of. My buddy Daniel Lee from Awaiting Eternity.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you back in the studio hanging out with me. It's always a pleasure.
Always.
So, yeah, man, we're going to talk about just kind of the local music scene here in Grand Junction, which we were actually talking before we cracked the mics, that, both of us have lived in different areas, and both of us, including southern Colorado. Daniel lived in the Springs. I lived in Pueblo for like 10 years. And go ahead and tell me, before we even get into the meat of this thing, what you were just talking about and how great of a music scene we have here.
Sure. No, it's like everyone's got that attitude when they're younger. I think it's like, got to get out of this town. It's like nothing's going to happen. But it's like I've been around a little bit, and the Springs was great too. It really was a good scene, especially when I was back like 2002. I was probably there. Okay. So a while back, and they had the Colorado Music Hall. But I mean, we get probably more bands they ever did here in Grand Junction. Yeah. Nowadays, so I just feel like really fortunate to be a part of the scene.
Yeah, man, it's a killer scene. There's no doubt about that. Let's talk about you a little bit, if you would be so kind, and tell me about just a little bit about your musical journey, if you could. How you got into, I guess, the first music scene you ever got into, and how you kind of, your journey.
I kind of started here. I was from, I was born in Honolulu, but I went to high school in Delta, and that was where I first attempted to start playing music with people, and, I just kept jamming with different people, and eventually I wound up in Colorado Springs trying to do it, and I was there for a few years, and played some great shows. Played with, Machine Head, and opened up for some really cool bands at the Colorado Music Hall, and some various bars around there do local bands, too, and stuff, but I thought that was a really good experience, and then those guys, a couple of those guys I was playing with wanted to move to Orlando. Okay. So we moved out there, and I don't know why, it was kind of dumb, but we were just Trivium's from there, so
that's true.
It seemed like a legit place. Why not? It seemed like not. We were all young and didn't really have kids or anything.
I think the Backstreet Boys are from Orlando too. Actually,
all those boy bands are from there. NSYNC, they're all put together.
Okay, yeah.
They're all from. They hired them from Disney. They pick them out of the Disney.
That's right.
Staff, and then just feed them songs.
Trivium,
They were kind of rich kids, but they're great. I think Trivium is a really good band.
I agree. Yeah.
They definitely had some clout in the scene, but no, and actually those guys are cool too. They come out to the shows, and you'll see them around when they're not on tour. I've seen Matt Hafey out a few times.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, obviously that's a way bigger population than Grand Junction, but that doesn't mean people come out. That doesn't mean people. I've seen Hatebreed there play to 100 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a Wednesday night. You don't know. There's Disney and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So
and that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So kind of on that same note. Talking about opening for bands and stuff, I'm gonna ask you, and whether it's with Awaiting Eternity, your current band, which if you haven't checked out Awaiting Eternity, do it. They're awesome. If you could just tell me some of the bands you've opened for or bands you've come across, in the scene here in Grand Junction, who are some of the cool ones, the coolest? We've
shared the stage with some of our heroes. Obviously, most recently we jammed with Static X.
Right.
It's when I was a kid, I was into those guys, And then As I Lay Dying has been a big one for us. Nice. We're a huge influence on our music. Unearth we played with. Brian Posehn came. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah, it was the same show. It was with Unearth. It was we played. No, the comedians went first. There was this other lady who opened for Brian. Brian played. Then we jammed. Then it was Darkest Hour that Unearthed. So it was a half comedy, half metal. It was an amazing night.
That's crazy.
Brian was the coolest guy. He hung out the whole time. Came out and watched our set, and we talked to him. It was cool. We gave him a hoodie. It was super cool.
That's awesome.
That was probably a highlight. Black Dahlia Murder.
Oh yeah.
We played with them. We were actually supposed to play with them a second time, but then COVID hit, and then obviously the singer thing just happened.
Yeah, right.
They're going again. Who else? After the Burial, Phil Anselmo Superjoint was a big one for us.
Oh, cool.
Lots of cool stuff. I'm probably leaving Archspire. They're tech death, but lots of cool bands, man. Amazing, really.
That's a very impressive list, man.
Yeah, there's more. I'm
sure.
I'm missing some, but no, Rick's given us so many opportunities. It's been absolutely amazing.
Rick from the Mesa Theater we're talking about, and we actually talked about this. I've talked about this with all kinds of people. Like we're so lucky to have the Mesa Theater here, and it's really like. How our scene kind of happens, without the Mesa Theater, it'd be a whole different story. So
I think, especially from a metal band standpoint, hard rock metal scene out here, it's really, it caters to it in a way that even the bigger cities can't compare to, Not to say anything bad about it, but just it's so much more focused, it seems.
Totally. We're going to talk more to Daniel from Awaiting Eternity here in just a few and spotlight some other local musicians here in the Grand Valley. All right, so keep it locked right here. Here's a little bit today and taking a wild ride. Well, not really anywhere. We're staying right here celebrating the local music scene here in Grand Junction. We're going to be talking to my buddy Daniel Lee from Awaiting Eternity more here in just a little while. But first, I want to spotlight some other musicians, bands, that sort of thing here in the Grand Valley. All right, so I've asked these questions on our 95 Rock app and on our 95 Rock Facebook page, regarding who are some of your favorite local bass players, drummers, guitar players, singers, that sort of thing. And just some to shout out that are, favorites, I would say, to a lot of 95 Rock listeners. Bass players include Jordan Will from Peach Street Revival, of course, very popular. Stephen Mann, as well as Jethro Mook of Zoloft. I think I said that right. Drummers, my buddy Chris Petrus, who actually joined us very recently here on 95 Rock, as well as Sophia Benham from Peach Street Revival also, who has been in the studio with us kind of along those same lines. Asked a question a while ago. This was like right when COVID hit and all the concerts were canceled. Which artists, musicians, whatever, do you miss the most? When we couldn't have concerts, some of these people mentioned were Jerry Goodman from Goodman Band, obviously, the Williams Brothers. My buddy James Williams is a very popular local band. Hugh Plumley, Desert Flyer Band, Tim and Richard, Swing City Express, Jack and Jill, Frank Brager Orchestra, also all mentioned, and also all great local, musicians here in the Grand Valley. Go ahead and shoot us an app chat message with some of your favorites, all right? I want to hear from you. Just pop open your 95 Rock app, shoot us an app chat message there, and we're going to be talking to Daniel Lee from Waiting Eternity a little bit more in a little bit. So keep it locked right here. Taking a wild ride, basically just right here, staying here and celebrating our local music scene today, as I like to do from time to time. Joined by my buddy Daniel Lee from Awaiting Eternity. So we mentioned your band, Waiting Eternity, that you're in right now. Is there any more bands? Do you have like a roster of bands you've been in that you can kind of rattle off? Or?
It's been years, but I was in a band called Unsaid that we played Denver a few times, and we were mostly out of Orlando and Colorado Springs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and we played with a couple of cool bands called Broken Image, and yeah, there might be a few people that remember that, but this is definitely the best thing I've ever done.
Okay.
And the best time I've ever had doing it. Like, it just felt more like a real band, not just like I'm playing with these guys, but it's,
Yeah.
It just felt like we were like a gang more so.
That totally happens, and when when you have that chemistry and it clicks and it works, it shows in the music too.
Yeah, for sure. I think the small town actually also contributes to that, because it's just like, okay, so like there's not that many musicians, period, so it's like you find a couple and you really hang on to them. And I think that if there's too many options and you're always looking around, I think that kind of convolutes it or waters it down, and then your like efforts are kind of scattered, and that could lead to your not really doing much.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good point.
Like the best bands, look at like Sabbath, Pantera, like at one time they were all bros. They had to be.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just like some hired gun, like you're good and you're good, so let's play. Like that's obviously why you track, but it's like if you don't have like an actual connection or it doesn't grow, like how far do you really expect it to go?
Sure. No, it's like you're married to, a few guys. Really.
Yeah, seriously. Like everybody's bullshit. Everybody's hang-ups and stuff. None of us are perfect, and it's like you got to just get past it and just make sure the music stays at the forefront of it.
Yeah, and it's quite a feat to be able to do that for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: in your time in mostly the Western Colorado music scene, the Colorado music scene altogether.
Sure.
But if let's just picture like you got a yearbook and there's like a band or an artist or somebody that, you've been around or something that was like most likely to succeed, is there any band that comes off your mind that you've, been around, played shows with or whatever?
Like locally?
Like a local Colorado band.
Gee, that's really putting me on the spot. There's so many good ones, man. I mean, Peach Street Revival's really good. We haven't played shows with them, I guess, though, as far as, like, local metal. I mean, Sworn Asunder's always been, like, a contender locally. Lots of great bands. Like, in Colorado Springs, there's a band called Try Redemption.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Oh, man. They're, like, two brothers. They've been around for years. They're really good. Really good, like, melodic death. I don't know if they call themselves that or not, but that's what I'd put them as.
How about any bands that, like, aren't around anymore?
There's this one band that sticks out in my mind. They're called Synthetic Delusion. They were from Denver, and they were like way sick. They were doing like, this is back when I was probably like 19. This is like 2001 or 2, and I'm showing how old I am right there. But they were just had those syncopated kicks, and I'd never heard a band of that, like, be able to do that Fear Factory type stuff that was like not signed. I was just like blown away by that drummer, and they had really cool songs, and they're opening for like bigger bands, and I was just like, wow, that's like something to shoot for, because they're probably a few years older than I am.
Okay, yeah.
But no, they were sick. Mind State, Switchpin was a good band out of Denver. I think they're not together anymore.
That sounds very familiar, yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago, I think they were still going. I might be wrong about that. I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening. But, Broken Image, Dusty from Broken Image, they've always played shows with in Unsaid. And he's actually been coming out to the Waiting Eternity shows we play out there now. So,
oh, cool.
So it's kind of connecting again. But, yeah, I mean, there's just so many cool people. And it's really not that big when you think about it. Like, the people that are doing the shows and selling tickets and really doing bands year after year, there's really not that many people.
You realize it's a small world,
It's a community.
It sure is, yeah.
And even when it's heavy metal, etiquette counts, and how we treat each other counts, and we talk to each other, all that. So,
absolutely. Once again, we're talking to my buddy Daniel Lee from Awaiting Eternity, just to kind of, BSing about the local scene, man. And, of course, you guys, Awaiting Eternity is such a big part of it. And I just thought to myself, man, Daniel would be a good guy to come in here and chat with me for a bit. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, well, thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate that.
Love when we can celebrate the local music scene here on 95 Rock, celebrate the local music community, man. We have so many great bands, great venues, and, it's this place that a lot of people don't realize has so much talent and so many fans, like dedicated, loyal fans. And I mentioned venues. We've got some great music venues here. We mentioned Mesa Theater. We've also got Las Colonias Amphitheater, which is wonderful. The Avalon Theater, also wonderful. Was just there to see Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Not to mention, Orchard Mesa Cruisers, for example. There's a lot of local shows, rock shows here in Grand Junction, and a good place to check out local rock bands, local music, man. Also have seen local music at Wingers. We have all kinds of options. So again, shoot us an app chat message if you would. Tell me some of your favorite musicians in the Grand Valley, some of your favorite bands, some of your favorite venues, just whatever you got. I want to hear from you. Go ahead and open up our 95 Rock app and just shoot us a message there on that 95 Rock.